Hi and welcome to Dramatic Knits. My name is Steve, also known as Dramatic Knits, and today is Sunday, March 22nd, 2015. This is episode 203. If you're a returning viewer, thanks for coming back one more week, and if you're new, hopefully you enjoyed today's show and you'll come back in the future. As you can see, this week is a solo episode. Callie was feeling a little bit under the weather, so she decided not to record this week, which is perfectly fine. It'll be a nice short episode. But if you're on Ravelry, just shoot her a quick PM telling her you hope she feels better. I think it's just a little stomach bug thing. So, as you can see, when I record solo, Ernest, who is a hot mess, has to come join me because he hears talking, and when I'm not talking to anybody for the majority of the day, he thinks I'm talking to him. So, Corn Dog is sunbathing on the floor over there. He's looking up at me like, what you talking about? So maybe he'll come join and you'll get a quick peek at him later this episode. So like I said, I have a lot to show off and to talk about this week, but I don't think it'll be too long of an episode. So let's get started with a quick week in review. I did work all week, Monday through Friday. This is the first 5-day week I've worked in a while, and boy was it a long week, and next week is going to feel even longer because next week is the last week and before spring break. And then starting next Friday afternoon, I have a week off. So I'm looking forward to that. And hopefully I can get a lot of relaxing knitting and spinning done, but also dying for upcoming shows and things of that nature. So, and Corn Dog wants up in my lap now, but Ernest is in the way. We just sat on the front porch swing for a couple of minutes enjoying the nice weather. It's a little chilly here. It's in the low 50s, but it's supposed to stay there and get a little cooler throughout the week, so we'll see. Alright. So, yeah, nothing really exciting. We didn't go to knit night because Andy had a dentist appointment Tuesday afternoon, so I wanted to be home just to make sure he was comfortable when he got home and all that fun stuff. So that went all right, and yeah, like I said, just been busy dyeing for the shop, dyeing a lot of fiber because YarnCon is coming up in about a month, and we got a metric butt ton of fiber in to dye for that, so we've been working on that slowly but surely. So let's get to the knitting. What's taking a bow this week? Voila! This is my Anne's Story boomerang that I knit out of Leading Men Fiber Arts Show Stealer, our NCN base, in the Anne's Story colorway. And I used a size 6 US 4mm, and I love it. So, like I said, I love the way boomerangs look on me. They're the only things that I have found to be extremely flattering, and I enjoy them. So, I took a minute to get it styled, so I'm not going to take it off, but there is excess you can see under there, so it wraps around and underneath. Looks almost like a cowl and things like that. This is a garter stitch, plain garter stitch boomerang shape. Which you can find my pattern notes. I'm not sure if I put them in for this one, but I know my foliage boomerang, I have pattern notes, and the one that I cast on this week, which you'll see, has the pattern notes as well. So that's all that I finished. This was very close to being finished last week, so it didn't take too much longer to get this off the needles. But yeah, so what's performing this week? The first thing is the Nora's sweater by Pam Powers. I'm using local alpaca worsted weight that was mill spun that we dyed in our royalty colorway on size 8 US 5mm. And I'm working on the left or right front sleeve. It goes from the yoke into the sleeve. And so let me show you that. I got about 4.5 inches done, as you can see from the Dickadoo. I have to go to 9 inches before I start shaping, and luckily the pattern repeat is 3 inches exactly, so I've got 2 pattern repeats done, so I've got to do one more. And as you can see, like I said, there's alternating cables changing their position, and they alternate within stockinette in between some pearl background. So I am alternating skeins, and that's going pretty well. Even though it's cabling, I do cable with a cable needle. Just for me, it goes quicker. And but it is pretty simple enough that it goes pretty quickly. So that's that. The second item is where the show title comes from. And I have a hoe. I do have a hoe. I finished the first of the Show Off Stranded socks out of Into the World Gloucester sock. Said it right. Lisa Fiber sent me a video through Facebook, and she said she was thinking of me. It's how people pronounce Massachusetts towns and how they mispronounce them. So I'm pretty sure Gloucester is right. Anyway, it's in the Anara colorway, and I used a size 1 US 2.25 millimeters on my double points. And here's the first one. As you can see from here all the way down and finished is what I did. And I was worried I was going to be too short on yarn. And I am. So this sock weighs 54 grams, and I only have 42 grams left of yarn. So it was even a little bit under of 100 grams, which it should have been, but that happens. I don't judge Into the World for that. So I really like these socks, and I really want to finish them, but I really don't want to buy a whole nother skein. I did see that there are three of these colorways in D-Stash on Ravelry. Like I said, I really don't want to have to buy a whole nother skein. So I figured I'd put a call out to you guys. If anybody has knit with this colorway in the Gloucester sock and you have leftovers, I'm looking for about 15 to 20 grams. And I know that's a decent amount of a skein, but I know some people don't knit, really long, tall socks or men's socks. I've never had an issue like this before, and I realize what the issue is. So you can see the stitch. It is, you yarn over, knit two, pass the yarn over the two knit stitches, and due to the amount of that yarn over, that's extra yarn being eaten up, and I didn't even think about that. And I did knit the leg a little bit longer than I normally do. So, I thought I'd put a call out. If I do not hear anything within a week, I am going to, unfortunately, have to buy one of the D-Stash skeins because I really want the other sock. Whether it's for me or Andy, he likes this a lot too. We have the same size feet, so we may trade off these socks, but I'm like, ugh. But then I should probably have enough to do a small sock head or some fingerless mitts or something. So, I don't know. It is what it is. But the first one's done. But I don't want to start the second one not knowing that I have more yarn in my hands, so I'm waiting and putting this on the back burner until then. So I went to Ravelry and I went to my queue and I used the random number generator, and I found a pattern that was in my queue, and that is the Though She Be But Little, She Is Fierce shawlette by Rena Varsakis. And this is what it looks like. And I don't know who that is as the model, but she models a lot for Ravelry patterns, and I'm not sure if it's the same designer or a group of friends or whatnot. So I think she's usually models for Caitlin French patterns, I'm pretty sure. I don't know if that is her or not. But it's a really simple garter stitch eyelet pattern, but it does call for a decent amount of fingering weight. What she used was a light fingering weight. It was some handmaiden, I don't remember the base, but it comes with 547 yards in a skein of 100 grams, so I'd say it's pretty light fingering weight. I could have used a skein of our Soliloquy, which is 657 yards, but I wanted something a little more cushy, and I wanted to use stash, honestly. So I looked in my stash and I found a Knitting Pipeline acquisition from last year, and that was from A Riot of Color. And I had two skeins of her 80% superfine alpaca, 20% silk. It is rather fuzzy, so due to the nature of the pattern, I don't think it'll be an issue though. So this is in her Midnight Rendezvous colorway. As you can see, it is quite fuzzy, but it has really good drape, and it technically is listed as a sport. I would say it's a thinner sport 2 fingering, so I'm hoping I'm okay. With the two skeins together, there's only 200 and some odd yards in each skein, so again, I don't know. But I have like 570 something yards, I think. So I should be okay. So I started that, and it calls to be knit on a size 2.5. And I knew because this was technically a sport weight, I wanted to go up a little. I was planning on going up to a 4, but I was afraid of running out of yarn. Granted, I could finish the shawl really whenever I wanted. But I went to a 3, just in case. It's a little dense, but I think it'll block out to be, bigger and lighter and more drapey. So here's where I started. I got through the first little garter section and an eyelet row. And again, mine's not going to be nearly as busy as the pattern because it's not really variegated. But I considered alternating skeins. And the skeins, they looked a little bit different, but balled up they didn't. So I'm going to take my chances on not alternating, and hopefully it won't bite me in the bum. So that's that. That's going. So I worked on that right before I got in the shower and did some laundry and things like that before I sat down here to record. So then I worked on my boyhood socks, and this is knit out of Leading Men Fiber Arts Showstopper Base in what is to be our April colorway of the month called Boyhood. And I got through the leg last night watching a movie. Again, I'm getting a little bit of yarn bark going on here. Here is the colorway. So, this could be really bad. I'm gonna have to look at this. Oh, maybe I can fix it. Maybe I should fix it after the show. I was having it come a little loose around the edges, and I'm trying to knit from the center, but we'll see. Anyway, I'm going to have to fix that after we record. It looks very thin because it is a 2x2 ribbed sock, and again, you can see the fun swirling, pooling that's happening. Again, your mileage may vary. Yours may not pool or swirl because this is a 68 stitch sock on again 1.5. So you never know. So I thought about taking a picture to post this with the listing, but I can't guarantee it's going to do this. So thinking probably not. But I thought I'd show you guys and get it knit up so you guys could see the cool thing that's happening. So you can see from the Dicky-Doo all the way down, I did 80 rounds of 2x2 ribbing. I'm going to do a heel, just a regular stockinette heel flap, and gusset. Keep the ribbing along the instep on the top of the foot. So that's how that's going. So again, it looks like never going to fit. Even when you go like this, you're like, that's never going to fit on a foot or on a leg. But it is very stretchy. Very, very stretchy. So that's what's going on there. Let's leave this out because I need to fix that. Alright, the last thing is something new, and it is another boomerang. Surprise! In my Dramatic Knits bag from the Silver Shed USA, which we have 2 of these to give away in future contests. And I'm using the Gales Art Sinful Base in the Velvet Elvis colorway, which looks like that. And I decided to do something a little bit different with this boomerang, and I've heard people do this as a modification, and it kind of breaks it up a little bit. So I'm using a random number generator on my phone, but it also has a coin flip, so you can choose between heads and tails. And I'm doing, if it comes up heads, I'm doing a stockinette row, so I knit and purl back. If it comes up tails, I'm doing a garter stitch row, so I knit and knit back. So it's providing a cool texture. At first glance, you can't really tell. But then when you look closer, you can see some stockinette and some garter sections. So again, it's just giving me something different to do with the yarn and provides a different texture. So I think this is going to be a birthday gift for my sister this summer when her birthday pops up in June. She is a huge, and I mean huge, Elvis fan. Her room is, and she's 19, going to be 20 soon, and her room is just covered in Elvis stuff. So I figured couldn't go to a better place. So, and did I say I'm knitting that on a size 6, 4mm as well. So that's all that I've been working on. My sad hoe and everything else, but I got to cast some new things on, so that's always pleasurable, I guess. We'll see. So, what's in rehearsal? I don't really have anything planned because nothing's close to being off the needles. I only cast on that though she be but little, she is fierce shawlette because of the instance with the sock. But we'll see. We'll see what strikes my fancy. Alright, behind the scenes, my spinning. I did finish some spinning. I finished the Tucker Woods Melodies 8515 Polworth Silk in the Peacock colorway. And it was a gradient, and I spun it up and chain plied it as a gradient. And I got 378 yards of a chain plied, heavy fingering weight, I would say. And this was a commission spin, so this is going to be going to its new home tomorrow. It's already been washed and thwacked. I'm not going to unskein it because I actually skeined this one and it doesn't look too bad. But you can see the different blues and greens and purples. And it did floof up just a little bit after washing, so it might even be a sport weight, but I'd say heavy fingering overall. So I'm really proud of that. So I gotta take a picture of it before I mail it. That would be disheartening to mail it without taking a picture. So then I told you last week that I had asked for a recommendation of what to spin next out of my stash, and the recommendation was Twisted Fiber Art in their Superwash Merino and the Wilderness colorway. And I've started spinning it. I am just spinning it straight out of the braid. I am going to chain ply it again. And so it's got these purples and browns and mossy greens almost. Chartreusey mossy greens. So it's coming along. It's a joy to spin. Superwash Merino is lovely. So yeah, I think it'll come out to be my normal weight of a heavy fingering sport weight. Alright, in the spotlight, what am I watching? I'm watching a lot of things. We did catch up on last week's Looking. There is the season finale for that tonight, so they had 10 episodes this season. So hopefully that means they're coming back next season. I hope. I really enjoy that show, and they're such small, short, half-hour episodes. You're just like, no. So, I did watch the series finale of Glee yesterday, and it was a 2-hour episode. The first hour was about how they all met back in 2009, and then where they were today, and then they kind of took them 5 years into the future. I felt like they wrapped it up a little too nicely. I didn't think there was anything that like blew me away. I did get a little choked up a couple of times just because, is what it is. I've been with them since the beginning. I watched since the first episode aired, the pilot, and been with them for 6 years, so. Still watching The Killing During Lunch. It's getting interesting. Lots of plot twists. We're still watching Walking Dead. There's a new episode tonight. I think there's one more after tonight. And I'm watching Bates Motel as well. So I watched the second episode of this season, season 3. And I watched a movie last night called The Words with Bradley Cooper and Dennis Quaid and a few other people. I felt it was very anticlimactic, and I think that's kind of what their intention was. But it was an interesting concept. I just think they could have went a little farther with it or gone a little more in detail. I felt like it was really open-ended and anticlimactic at the end. So I am still listening to The Strangers, or Just Strangers, by Dean Koontz. I'm only 13 and a half hours into it, and I have 15 hours and 45 minutes to go. It's interesting, don't get me wrong. It is very interesting. I can't figure out what's going on, but they instituted some kind of supernatural, paranormal elements into it. I'm like, I didn't see it going there, but okay. So, still listening to that. All right, a round of applause this week. We do want to tell you to enter your finished objects for our Colorwork Knit Along into the FO thread. There's no chatter in that thread. If you want to chatter, there is a chatter thread as well. They're both stickied at the top of the Dramatic Knits video podcast group, Ravelry group, the boards. Please join the group if you are not a member. You must be a member in order to be eligible for prizes. So if you are entering, go ahead and make sure you're a member. It could be any colorwork project from February 1st, 2015 to March 31st, 2015. You have through next weekend and into, I think, Tuesday. Then I'll close the thread Wednesday morning and we'll pull for prizes, not next week, but the following week. We have 2 wonderful prizes. The first is some yarn that I keep forgetting to bring out. But the second is a pattern that was actually gifted to Kelly and I this week, and the designer heard us talking about Barocco folio, and she designed a cowl pattern out of folio and said, hey, I wanted to gift you a pattern, and Kelly, and I also want to give one for a prize as for the podcast. So I said, awesome, I will use that as a second prize for a Colorwork Knit Along, because I believe we're over 50 entries. So this is the Felicity Cowl by Megan Sanders. It's a very drapey cowl. And you can see that lovely green there, so I might have to pick up some folio at my local yarn store. I'm not sure if I'm going to go this week, but next time I go in, we'll see. So thank you so much, Megan, for gifting that to Callie and I, and I can't wait to gift it to somebody else for our Colorwork Knit Along. Remember, if you use any base of Leading Men Fiber Arts in your colorwork project, you can post your FO picture twice in the thread to get 2 entries into the drawing. We also want to tell you anything that you finish in the month of 2015, please enter into the March 2015 Race to the Finished Object contest. We have 2 wonderful prizes for that as well. The first is a skein of Cascade 220 hand paints, and the second is a pattern from our featured designer, who is Lucia Payne of the Pearl of the Pacific podcast, and you could get any one of her wonderful patterns. Right now she has 3, soon to be 4, all featuring Leading Men Fiber Arts. So she has the Twisted Sands mitts, the Triple Swell hat, the Waves of Sand cowl, I believe, Waves on the Sand cowl, and she's working on a sock pattern. So we're excited to offer those patterns from Lucia. So I think that's pretty much it for right about now. I do have a few things to show you that we updated yesterday in the shop, but it's going to be very quick. So if you leave me now, ciao. We'll see you next week. But I did want to show you, we did update about 4 skeins last night. So we had 2 skeins on Show Stealer, which is our MCN base, what I knit this out of. We have Steve and Andy, which is kind of reminiscent of this, but a little bit different. So there's actually 4 skeins of Steve and Andy up there. We have some Metamorphosis. There's 2 skeins of this up in the shop. And then we have London Fog on Dramaturg. There are 2 skeins of this, our wonderful gray. And then we did update some Apocalypse on Box Office, our worsted weight, and there's 4 skeins of this. This was such a huge hit at the Pipeline Retreat that Andy is making sure that we have some in every single base that we carry, maybe besides lace, for YarnCon. So that's all that's been updated in the shop this week. Like I said, we've been dyeing a lot of fiber, and we also had to fill in a wholesale order. So I did want to tell you guys that I worked on something last night, and I'm so excited to bring this to you guys. If you go to leadingmenfiberarts.bigcartel.com now, up at the top you will see products, you will see yarns and fibers, our colorways page, but I've also added 2 new tabs. The first is, if you want to put in a custom order, you can now click on the custom order tab, and then it'll say click here, and it'll take you to a Google form that you can fill out in order to place a custom order. So no more, email me. I mean, you can still email me, but now there's an official form that you can fill in and place your custom order and tell us, what colorway you want on what base and how many, and you can place as big of an order as 1 skein, whatever you'd like. The other thing is, and you can take this information to your local yarn stores, is there is a wholesale orders tab as well. So stores and shop owners can now click on that and place a wholesale order directly from our website. So I was really excited about that. Andy was like so excited for me that I was like, I did something, and I'm not that technologically inclined. So luckily Google makes it pretty easy. But yeah, so that's exciting news. So, if you want to see Leading Men Fiber Arts at your local yarn store, give them our website and tell them, hey, you can directly order from the website and all that jazz. So I think that's pretty much it. If you want to, please join either the Dramatic Knits or Leading Men Fiber Arts Ravelry group. Join the Leading Men Fiber Arts Facebook page. Follow me on Instagram as Leading Men Fiber Arts. And if you're watching on iTunes, please leave a star rating or a written review. And you can also catch the show on YouTube now. So just search for Dramatic Knits on YouTube and you should find us. So I think that's pretty much it for this week. Short and sweet. But until next week, I hope you knit something dramatic.